Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football, a day down in London and nothing actually happened. But I'm back today and we've got lots to talk about. Odegaard is going to sign for Arsenal. In fact, he may well have signed for Arsenal by the time you're watching this video. Also, Harry Kane still trying to force a move from Spurs. Are they going to let it happen? And what's happening with Chelsea and Liverpool in this transfer window? We're looking at the last less than 2 weeks now. All that hope that we're going to do something. They better do things quick if they're going to do things, especially in Liverpool's case. But look, let's start off about Odegaard to Arsenal. David Ornstein was talking about this last night, saying that a £35 million Euro deal from Real Madrid is in the advanced stages. Still work to be done, but if he does sign, will be available for the game against Chelsea on Sunday. Can't wait for that. Lukaku will be playing for Chelsea. Will Odegaard be playing for Arsenal? To be honest with you, I don't think if Odegaard, Haaland, and every other decent player you can think of. I've just realised I've just picked two Norwegians there. That was not the point. Mbappe. Arsenal could add 6 world-class players to that team and I still don't think they'll beat Chelsea on Sunday. They're really up against it, but anything can happen. And Odegaard is a good signing for Arsenal. I'm not going to listen to these people who are saying it's not good enough. You know what it's a little bit like? When I'm down the Chinese takeaway and it's a Saturday night and I'm like, I'll have a beef chow mein. I've had beef chow mein loads of times. And I think that, but I know it's nice. And I know that I like it. And I know that I'm going to be satisfied. I think there's some Arsenal fans out there, and there's some fans mocking Arsenal because they had Odegaard last year. But that doesn't mean he wasn't a good player for them on loan last year. Some people just want a shiny new thing. And I tell you what, if I hadn't got beef chow mein and I'd gone for something a little bit different, like Peking duck or something like that, I might not like it. And I'll be wishing I had the beef chow mein. The good thing about Odegaard is that Arteta and Arsenal fans know what he's about and that he knows what Arsenal's all about, and the fit is a good fit. And for €35 million, he's a good signing at 20. Is he 22, something like that? So I just think that maybe there's a bit of snobbery around it because he was here last year and you want something shiny and new. But I actually don't think he did terribly badly at Arsenal on loan last year. In fact, I think he did quite well in what I saw, and I'm interested to see what he will do as a full-time Arsenal player. I think he fits the profile of a full-time Arsenal player. Arsenal have had good players, Alexis Sanchez, Aubameyang, Ozil. So Arsenal have had good players. The problem is one good player ain't going to make you good. I think Arsenal need 4, 5, if I'm being honest, 8 players. You're not going to get 8 players, and I'm not going to say you need 8 players, but you do need a couple more players this summer transfer window. So if you can get Odegaard in, it gives you another week and a half to get maybe a couple of players in, because Arsenal are desperate for a couple of players, especially after the start of the season they had. But €35 million from Real Madrid, I think that's a good deal for Odegaard, by the way. It just shows you what a good deal Varane was for United, but let's not forget Odegaard hasn't got 1 year left on his deal, so you've got to take that into account. But Real Madrid clearly need to sell, and it's just another example of a Premier League club taking advantage of that situation at Real Madrid. And I do think, when you think about Arsenal, £30 million, less than £30 million, €35 million, I think it's about £28 million. They paid nearly double of that for Ben White, and I'm telling you now, if I spoke to anybody and said, right, these 2 players this summer, right? There's Ben White and there's Odegaard. One of them's going to go for 50 and one of them's going to go for 28. Take your guess. I guarantee 80% would go 50 million's Odegaard then, isn't it? For many different reasons. So it just shows you that Arsenal have spent a lot of money on Ben White, but Odegaard is a good deal. But what it really shows away from Arsenal is the ridiculous Premier League tax. You pay £50 million for a centre-back who's English, in his early 20s, who's not even an England international full-time yet, first teamer, and then you've got Odegaard, who's one of Norway's best players, who's been spoken about over the last 5 years as potentially going to be one of the best players in the world. Been at Real Madrid, and he's available for 28 million. The English tax is ridiculous, and I don't think we're ever going to get rid of that. But and my club's been a victim of it as well. Manchester United, we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. No way was he worth that much. He was a £50 million player. But I think it's a good signing for Arsenal, and they do need it. They need an attacking midfielder. Obviously, that means Maddison will stay at Leicester, so that potential move there won't be happening. And to be honest with you, I can sort of understand why Arsenal haven't done that. I'd be surprised if there's... Look, I would sit here, and if you're saying to me, would I rather have Odegaard or Maddison? I'd go Odegaard, definitely. Yeah, I would. I like Maddison, but I'd go Odegaard. And he's going to be half the price. There's just no logic for Arsenal to go for Maddison. Whether they preferred him or not, whether some of their fans preferred him or not, there is no logic, and that's why I was talking about English tax. Leicester are brilliant. 50 million for Chilwell, 80 million for Maguire. What are they going to get for Maddison? Somewhere in between. Somewhere between 50 and 80, I think they would get. And yet you're getting Odegaard for half that price. So Arsenal fans have got nothing to complain about there. And I don't think they can sit there in 6 months if it doesn't work out and go, we should have got Maddison. I think, business is in football. And if you spend less on a player that I think's better, then it leaves you that money to go and get somebody else. And I think, would you rather have Maddison or would you rather have Odegaard and hopefully somebody else? And I think that makes a lot of sense. So, Arsenal need that player. I think it's a good signing for them. I'm not gonna mock it. I think it is a good signing at the right price. As for everybody else, I'm interested. Kane, it's still not happening. I think Spurs at the moment are going through this conflict of whether they let Harry Kane go or whether they keep him. But as I said on Monday, the problem with Harry Kane is if you don't sell him soon, who you're bringing in. And I would imagine that if Spurs decide to sell Kane, they're going to say to Man City, well, you can get him in a couple of weeks, just before the end of the transfer window, because we need a couple of weeks to get players in. Spurs aren't bringing any players in at the moment. The biggest hint that Spurs are going to let Harry Kane go will be them buying a striker. But I think it's so late in the window now. Look, imagine if Spurs go, right, we're going to let you go, Harry, but we want Isaac from Real Sociedad, or we want I'm trying to think who they could go for, or Anthony Martial, for example, or just whoever. They go knocking on the door of United and say, we'd like Anthony Martial for 40 million. You're selling Harry Kane, aren't you? No. You are selling Harry Kane, aren't you? Why do you want? What are you going to do with Martial then? Well, it's going to be a backup. It's going to be a backup for Harry Kane. Oh, is he? Anthony, Spurs want you to be a backup for Harry Kane. Do you want to go? No, I'm happy here. I'm a backup here. Doesn't want to go. Anthony, can we have a private word? No, I'm going to listen in. Anthony, can we have a private word? You're going to be the replacement for Kane. What's that? He's the replacement for Kane? Right, we want £80 million now. And that's the problem Spurs have got. It's so late in the window that if they go looking for a striker, everybody knows why. It's a difficult one for Spurs because they can take 130 million, but they're never going to be able to replace Kane for a right fair price. What Spurs probably should have done is, and I think what Kane gave them the opportunity to do in May, was when it came out in late May that Kane wanted to leave Spurs. That was Spurs' opportunity over the summer to go and get whatever striker they wanted in June or July to then let Kane go. But now I think it's just so late on. I don't know. I think I was 90% sure he's going to Man City on Monday. I mean, with every passing day, it sort of changes. But Spurs are a sort of club that they can dig their feet in. But what I would say is, I remember Spurs United Berbatov, and that went right to the last day, and it still happened. So it can definitely happen. I'm also intrigued what's happening with Liverpool. I don't think they've done enough business. I know they've got Konate, but I don't think they've done enough business. Are they going to do a bit of business? They've been linked to Sarr today, Ismail Sarr of Watford, but he's in the Premier League now. So, they're going to have to pay money for him, which is normally the way a transfer works, to be fair, but good money for him. Maybe Liverpool go with what they've got, which I think is a risk in their front three with Firmino, Salah and Mane, because if they lose one of those, I don't think their backups are that good. Chelsea, I presume at some point Chelsea are going to get the Koundé deal done. Midfielder-wise, I was talking about Tchouaméni on the United stand this morning. I know he's been linked to Chelsea. Declan Rice, they like him, but that's not going to happen. So maybe Chelsea just go with what they've got. But I think Chelsea in the midfield, as much as they might want a Rice or a Tchouaméni, it's not really a problem area for them when you've got Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante. Chelsea are definitely the sort of club that if they want Declan Rice and West Ham say we want 80 million, they can go, right, we'll come back in a year and we'll take him for 60. Because they're not desperate. I think United are desperate for a holding midfielder. I think other clubs are desperate for other positions, but I don't think Chelsea are desperate for Rice this summer. I think they can wait a year, and they probably will do. But I do expect Koundé to come in. Anyway, look, good deal for Arsenal. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all on the next one.